Waiting for the video to start. Start up. Hey everybody, tonight I want to talk about some different different webinar formats because there's a lot of people who are skeptical that a traditional webinar won't work for them. So I want to show you that even if you choose to do a webinar and your audience, like, it's not right for a webinar, there's actually 5 total different ways that you can present the same information. And I'm going to go over all those tonight. So let me write, I just thought of the 5th one actually. So the first way is obviously the traditional way that webinars have been done, which is, a 1 or 2 hour long class. It's usually live and, there's an intro. There's always a lot of intro on live and pre-recorded webinars in their kind of full original traditional format. And there's also a very long close at the end. So we're all familiar with that. So I just want to go ahead and hop into the alternate forms. So the one that most people are missing, or they're not correlating with, oh, this is the same thing as a webinar, or I can pull the same slides or info I have in a webinar and present it in this format, is the 3-part video series. So usually in a webinar, if you study the Russell Brunson framework, he teaches 3 secrets. And if you look at a lot of other webinars, they'll do, 3 points or, 5 points or like 7 points. I think 7 points is kind of a lot. But what you can do is you can take all those points that you've written out and you'd be like, okay, this is video number 1, video number 2, and video number 3. So you take that traditional webinar format, chop off the intro. And so I did this. I created a 3-part video series. And all I do is I go, hi, I'm Matt Wright. I'm the founder of Matt Wright Consulting. And today I'm going to teach you about blank. And then that's the intro piece. That's all you need. And then you just teach, right? And then I'll actually show you the pages for this because I've still got them up. Da-da-da. There we are. So this is my opt-in page. Free 3-part video series reveals top 3 things that prevent companies from being massively productive and put a glass ceiling on profits. And by the way, we just used this format of an opt-in page for one of my clients, and we got a 45% opt-in rate, which was pretty sick. And that was off organic traffic too. So then it takes you to this page, which my videos are broken right now. But all you do is you have the headline of what they're going to learn, and then you've got the video, and then go to video 2. All right. And then headline, video, and then go to video 3. And then check this out right here. Like what you heard, schedule a mapping session, right? It's the same thing as a webinar. It's the same info, but it's compressed in time, and the intro is compressed, and even like the time to sale is a lot faster because you're getting them right on a call or right to look at your product. Now, the case where I would not use the 3-part video series is if you are selling like a high-ticket online course, like something that's like $1,000 or $2,000, because I'm not sure that there's as much authority or credibility that would otherwise get built up on something like a phone call in doing this type of method. Make sense? So that is kind of way number 2. You can do it. So we've covered traditional. We've covered, I've got my notes here on the other monitor. We've covered the 3-part video series. So the next way you can do it, and I've got all this mapped out. I'll show you here in just a minute. But first, let me tell you about this other way you can do it. The other way you can do it is you can actually take the same kind of, like, imagine like you've taken this webinar, which is like, an hour or 2 hours long, and you've already compressed the info down into this 3-part video series. What you can do is you can compress it even more, and every time that you compress the format, you get more and more direct with what you're saying or teaching, inviting people into, etc. So you'll want to go through the teaching and the objections for each of those points very, very, very quickly, like 1 or 2 sentences, like just the top objections. And you can actually do that same framework in a 5-minute, in either a 5-minute in-person pitch, which was developed by, not developed, but implemented by Jamie Cross. She sells soap. So she took the perfect webinar sequence, she wrote it all out, she memorized it, and then while she was at this farmer's market, then she would give this spiel to people, and she sold like a whole lot more stuff. So you can do this in webinars, you can do this in person, you can do it from stage, or you can compress that same script and put it into a 5-minute video and put it right on the front of your website. I forgot, somebody asked me about some e-commerce thing a while back, but I went to the page for it, and it had like boom, like right on the front of the page, like 5 minute. It was exactly Frank Kern style because I've studied that exact same slide template that they used for that video. But it was basically like a webinar, like right on the page about why you should get their product. So now the next way that you can do it is present your webinar over a Facebook Live. And there's two major differences when you do this, okay? The first difference is that everybody you're presenting to on Facebook Live pretty much already knows who you are, especially if it's organic. So you don't need any of the intro pieces, especially the authority creating pieces. You don't need to say like, oh, I've worked with this person and this person. It's a lot like all that stuff can still be there, but it's a lot lighter. It's very sprinkled on. So an example of that would be like, hey guys, I'm Matt Wright. If you're new here, you might not have heard, but I've worked with some pretty cool people in the industry. A lot of, 2 Comma Club award winners and even 1 10X award winner, and a lot of other people in the coaching and digital marketing space online, helping them to create funnels, webinars, etc. Right? And what we're going to go over today, so that was the intro right there. So I said who I was, established authority really quickly, and then I immediately moved on to what we're going to cover today. And even then, I keep it super, super brief. Because the thing about social media or presenting live on like webinars or something is, when you're presenting on social media, people like watch for like a minute or two. Like there's going to be very, very, very few people who watch for like, the full 20 or 30 or 60-minute duration. So what you're going to want to do is use what's called the 3-step offer formula, which is what do you got, what it'll do for them, and how do they get it. So every couple, maybe you do a teaching point or half of a teaching point, and then you'll insert this offer formula. So you'd do something like, hey guys, so I just taught you about the 3-part video series, the how to present a Facebook Live or a webinar on Facebook Live, and the traditional webinar format. Now, if you're liking what you're hearing and you are wondering about how to get more of it, I've got something really great for you. It's my brand new webinar course. It's called Platinum Webinars. And all this stuff you're seeing, it's actually templated out for you. So it's basically plug and play. You fill out an exercise. It's very easy. It's going to help you discover the pain points. It's going to help you develop your slides, and it's going to help you launch your webinar in 8 weeks or less. Now, if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and go to mattwrightconsulting.com, which is the URL I already have up here. This is an actual offer. And you can go there, sign up, watch the webinar, and if it's a fit, or you could just take them right to a checkout page. And if it's a fit, then you can go ahead and get the course, and I look forward to seeing you in there. All right, now back to teaching. So that was basically that was basically the 3-step offer formula with a little bit of fourth wall thrown in there, obviously. So that is the Facebook Live version. So quick intro, quick authority, teach, 3-step offer formula, teach, 3-step offer formula, loop, 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 and then maybe a little bit longer of a pitch at the end, but I really wouldn't be so pitchy on Facebook. It's just not what people expect on this kind of platform. Now, the last way to do it is really fascinating, which Joel Urway is doing this right now. So let me switch over and go to Facebook, and we'll go to, this is some webinar hacking for you. All right, so we go to Joel Urway. We go to page transparency, and we go to ad library, and we can go and scroll down, and he's got this thing called the mini webinar. So if you click and you learn more, this is really cool. So this page right here is an application page. And you can see right here, this is an 18-minute video. And it's basically this whole video, if you go and you watch it, it's a very good video.
Freebie to collect a lead.
He explains the old way of doing things. He talks about why it's dangerous. And then he talks about this new way that he's doing it, and constantly throughout it establishes authority. So he talks about like the what of the method, and then he goes through and he invites you to fill out this application. So, but where is the webinar? So check it out. If we go to the beginning of this video, do you have a course that's finally ready to launch? Offer invitation. Okay, and we go and we look at the ad library. The thumbnail right here is the mini webinar. All right, so if I'm just scrolling up and down through Facebook, this is what I'll see. But if I click in right here,
Do you?
this is the exact same video. 18 minutes, 27 seconds. 18 minutes, 26 seconds. It's the exact same video, guys. So all you need to do is take that webinar, compress it directly into the offer, and there's all kinds of ways that you could, segment out your audience of who to show this to. I don't know how he's doing that, frankly, but I could make some guesses. Not the topic of this live. But what you can do is you can take that webinar and you can shorten it to about that length video, and people watch something like that. And the biggest key here is going to be about the positioning that you take. The biggest thing here is going to be about the positioning that you take. When you put this webinar directly onto a Facebook ad for people to watch, you're not going to want to position as this is a webinar, right? And even if you say webinar, people are going to be like, oh, webinar, sale, right? That people are already trained to have that association. So you'd probably I wouldn't even say webinar. I would just present it as whatever new method. New is a very safe copywriting angle to take. Breakthrough method reveals how to lose weight without while still eating Oreos, without giving up the foods you love, right? Very generic, classic weight loss headline. So that is the fifth way that you could do it. So what did we go over here? We went over, if you're liking what you're hearing and you want to learn more, you want to launch your first webinar, you want to get those pain points figured out, I've got it all put together in a brand new class called Platinum Webinars. If you go to my website, mattwrightconsulting.com, you can sign up there, watch a webinar, see what it's all about, and if it's a fit for you, then I'd love for you to get it. It's a class where we've got everything templated out. There's a live call once a week, proven templates, 26 pages of email copy, all for a ridiculously low price. I encourage you, go there, check it out. Now, end pitch, right? So I just demonstrated again how to do the 3-step offer formula to you guys. But let's go ahead and hop in. Let me show you. The framework. Okay. So this is all the study I've done. This is a breakdown of just the intro. That's included in the class if you're interested. And I've got a 25-minute video just on the intro. Let's get to it. So basically what I did is I looked at all these different webinars, all these different frameworks, and I said, what is the map? What is actually happening in each piece of the webinar? So there's optional pieces here. These pieces can sometimes be rearranged. But I wanted to show you visually the traditional webinar format and then a breakdown of it, more like what you would use on Facebook Live or on the Joel Urway style mini webinar that you'd run directly to a Facebook ad, or how you could break it into a 3-part video series, which let me go ahead and make that. So, and I'll also label it just to make it super, super clear for you guys. Super, super clear. Da-da-da. So I call a 3-part video series 3PVS. 3-part video series, way too many. And then this will be shortened. So which is FB Live and 5 minutes and the Urway version. We'll call it Urway. All right, great. So traditional webinar format. If you're doing a live webinar, you have an option when people are just getting on, is you can play music that is inspiring to whatever topic you're doing. So there's a webinar out there, Vimbasi Warriors, you can go sign up for. Search Vimbasi Warriors on Facebook. It's like a dating thing. But he's got this really great, inspirational, orchestral kind of music in the beginning. And it's really, really great to listen to. And you can kind of go hey guys, is this thing on? Just want to make sure everybody gets in here before I get into this teaching. Now the next thing is, if you're doing, this is an optional piece, if you're doing some kind of JV partnership or something, a way that you can, because if you just have a webinar that's 2 hours of you and you're bringing somebody else's audience into it, you're going to want to have a proper intro for that person. So what you can do is hey guys, so excited you signed up for the webinar today. I'm going to go ahead and let Josh introduce himself, and then we'll get into the teaching. And then you literally have the pre-recorded webinar, you splice in some little intro from Josh, and then you get back into the teaching. The next step, this is an optional thing. If you're not selling anything at the end of the webinar, you have the option for the 30-second pitch, which I'll pull up some slides. Just as an example, this was from Andy Jenkins of Kartra. Da-da-da. So all this stuff is intro. Don't worry about it. I just want to show you this. So he's establishing stick rate. Why do you want to watch this webinar? And then he goes, real quick, guys, there is one thing I just want to make you aware of. Webinar Jam, we've got a free trial of it today on this webinar. If you want to get it, go ahead and click in the sidebar, open up a new tab. You can sign up and try out Webinar Jam, which is what we'll be talking about on this webinar today. And that's it. That's my 30-second pitch out of the way. That's literally exactly how you would do that. So that's the 30-second pitch. Now, there's two ways to do things. So you can increase sign-up rate and you can increase buy rate if you, on your opt-in page, have some kind of freebie. Blah, 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 subject to webinar, name and email, right? But sign up today and you also get my, my 2019 webinar blueprint. That's my actual freebie. My 2019 webinar blueprint when you sign up today, right? And so that can be like, oh, I really just want that guide. And they'll sign up, right, to get the thing. But the other way to do it, which I see less often, is to have people stay until the end. And if you watch the webinar until the end, you'll also get my free 2019 webinar blueprint guide. So you would want to announce that at the beginning, and that's going to create stick rate over that whole webinar. Again, optional intro pieces here. A lot of these can kind of be rearranged and massaged into place. Next up, you're going to want to have some kind of intro slide. Sorry. Let me get back here. Next up, you're going to want to have some kind of intro slide. So the intro slide would be like, hey guys, I'm Matt. I'm the creator of the most advanced, most comprehensive webinar follow-up method ever. I've worked with a lot of really cool people in the industry. And that's all I'm going to say about me. So you can be very understated and funny with it. Or if you've got a lot of like certifications and awards, then you can establish that credibility there. And you can go on to show it. You can show pictures of yourself with, big industry people, or you can show yourself receiving awards, pictures of the awards, etc. And that establishes authority right in the beginning. And there's a whole bunch of different ways to do intros. But again, I just want to run through the structure for you so you kind of get the flow of it, how to do it in these different mediums. Again, we're still going through the traditional framework. So next up, very often you'll see, this is for you if blank. And it's like, this is for you if you want to learn how to grow tomatoes, but you never gardened in your life, right? This is for you if you've tried to grow tomatoes before, but all you ended up with was small, green, sour things and weeds, right? And so you can just go through a lot of those audience pain points, which are developed through an exercise I developed called the Marketing Matrix, which if you go back and look at some previous slides, you can probably find it. Then you're going to want to establish what they're going to learn. And especially when you create a visual roadmap, this is also going to create stick rate. And the reason it's going to create stick rate is because when you say, hey, I've got a 3-step method for learning how to play guitar faster, right? People don't just want to learn number 1 and number 2. They're going to want to stay all the way until they learn the number 3 thing. So now another optional slide that you can do after this is the house rules slide. So one I like to do when I'm working with people in the health industry is the house rules slide. There's 2 ways you can do this. Number 1 is you can say, hey guys, this is not going to be MLM products. There's going to be no magic pills. And this is also not a fad diet. Now, with that stuff out of the way, let me go ahead and teach, right? So this is an intro thing I'm not going to go over tonight with the struggle, loss, discovery, rebirth stuff. And then there's the teaching, which I think a lot of people really, really overcomplicate this stuff. You want to pick, whenever you're developing what to teach on the webinar, you're just going to want to pick what are the top 3 things that, top 3 transformational things that I can actually teach them on this webinar, like they can walk away with, implement, and like they can use it, right? That's what you're going to want to teach on the webinar. And then you're going to want to teach it in a way where they are not, I guess, obligated to use it. And you can do that by finishing the teaching always with questions that are like kind of like leading, right? So like let's say we talked about gluten, right? Most people, when they stop eating gluten, they will lose weight and they will increase their energy because their blood sugar will be more stable, right? So I can teach that, I can show that in the teaching content, and then at the end of the teaching section, I can just be like, so now that you know how it works, what would your life look like if you just removed gluten? Like, I'm going to talk about all this other weight loss stuff, but if you just remove gluten, Like if you just took that one step, what would things look like? You can finish your teaching there and then move on to the next point. So that's how you do point number 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to want to do some kind of recap. All right, guys, today I showed you how to this, how to that, and how to this. And then you're going to want to do some kind of transition. And then you'll do some kind of stacking of the offer, which you may be familiar with if you studied webinars before. If not, I can get into more detail another time. And then there will be optional Q&A, which if you're doing a live webinar, doing this through chat, actually fielding questions can be great. If you're using EverWebinar, you can save that chat and replay that chat, which is super cool. If you're not, what you can do is you can, over time, as you're developing your product, take those questions and then build them into a recorded piece of the webinar, right? So that is a brief overview of the full webinar framework and the options. Now, I wanted to get into, now that you've learned all of that stuff, I wanted to show you how to break it down, how all these pieces correlate into the different things. So we talked about some kind of shortened version, doing it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So what you would do is you'd skip right into what they're going to learn, and then into the teaching, and then teach, and then make an offer to them, right? And then in the 3-part video series, all you would do is you'd break it up like this. Right? So here's video 1, and I guess you would do this. This would be very short. Let me edit that. Boop. And so all you would do, video number 1, hey guys, my name's Matt. I'm the founder of Matt Wright Consulting, and I have XYZ. And today I'm going to teach you about blank. And then you just teach, right? And then you have that next page button, just like this. Video 2, video 3, really easy. My videos aren't showing for whatever reason. And then they click on the next button. Hey guys, welcome back to the video series. Today I'm going to teach you about X, and then teach. And then in video 3, that's where you would teach, recap what they learned, transition, and then make them an offer. Typically, an invite to a call is going to be probably most effective for this format. So if you're skeptical that traditional webinars will work for you, I just showed you 5 different ways that you can do it. I showed you the traditional way with a full outline. I showed you how you can do it in 5 minutes, showed you 3-part video series, showed you the Joel Erway method, and I showed you how you can do it on Facebook Live. Now, if you're interested in learning more about this kind of thing, then I've got a brand new class for you. It's called Platinum Webinars. If you go to mattwrightconsulting.com, you can sign up, watch my own webinar, and see if it's a fit for you. In that class, I break down even more stuff than I did here, how to increase show rate by up to 30% using new methods nobody's really talking about, specifically a little bit more in depth about how to structure the slides and crucial pieces that people are missing when they do webinars. It's all about how to succeed with webinars in 2019. And at the end of it, there's an offer, of course, for my program, Platinum Webinars, which is an 8-week class where in week 1, we help you discover what you need to teach in your webinar, what kind of offer, what you can sell. In week 2, we go over the intro slides and kind of the big picture, a deep dive reveal of what we do in the class. In week 3, 4, and 5, we develop your intro slides, your content slides, and then your pitch, stack, and close slides, that kind of thing. In week 6, we get into actual technical setup, and right now, what's included is actually me helping you set that up one-on-one. I will literally do a Zoom screen share with you, help you set it up, whether you're in ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, whatever. And there's actually 2 slots still available for people to actually have me fully implement for them. I won't build your webinar slides. I won't write your headlines, but all you gotta do is write it, and then I'll implement it on your pages and host it on my own platforms, saving you a total of $336, which is pretty cool because this software stuff adds up. And somebody asked me about what happens after that time. After that time, you'll need to get your own copies of the software, which you'll probably be able to afford given success with webinars, as long as you have sufficient traffic. Week 7 is all about traffic. I'm going to do a little bit of teaching on Facebook ads, and also teaching on JVs and organic marketing in there. This is not primarily a traffic course, but I do know some things. And then week 8 is launch, where I will help you tweak anything you need last minute, teach you how to monitor stats, etc., etc. If that sounds like something you're interested in, once again, you can go to mattwrightconsulting.com and sign up, or you can just send me a message and I can get you a link straight to the order page, saving you an hour of your time. Thank you so much for watching. I genuinely hope this helped you out, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next one, and have an awesome night.